Okay. So as we discussed in the last class about Word2Vec, so you'll see the implementation of Word2Vec as much close as possible. Some parts I will have to leave abstract for you guys because that is not covered in the linear algebra class yet. But whatever is covered, however is covered, I will try to keep as much as possible so that you understand the thing. Okay. So, yeah, so it starts from here. So I have actually completely coded it and kept it. So we don't need the article anymore. So we'll go by the steps and we'll match the steps what we have learned. So I'll parallelly do it here. Okay. So what we had and how we'll do it. First we'll go through the theoretical pipeline and then we'll see that the same pipeline being covered in the code part. So it will make a match. So first we will have many documents, and a document's definition, as you already know, it can be something which is more than a word. Okay, it can be a sentence, it can be a paragraph, it can be a page, or it can be a physical file. So we have few documents, and so we have few documents, and we will convert these documents into a corpus. So this is the docs. We convert that document into a corpus. Then we convert this corpus into a dictionary. This is kind of a mapping. This is a dictionary. And from that dictionary, we generate training data, which is X and Y. So always in a machine learning problem, the data for training will be like this, X and Y in this format. So X will contain the context word. X will contain the context word and Y will contain the target word. And we will try to predict the target from the context. This is our job. So what will happen? So let's see until this one. Okay. So I have taken this one we can call as docs. Some name change just to make that familiar. Okay. So we have here, I have just kept one doc, which is one sentence. In that document, I'm just pre-processing something. I am removing this apostrophe S because there are other ways of handling that, but I'm keeping it simple. So I'm just replacing those apostrophe S here. Then I'm doing a tokenize. Tokenize is simple. I'm splitting the corpus into words. Sorry, I'm splitting the docs into words, which becomes a corpus. And if you have multiple sentences, then you have to break all the sentences and then break all the sentences into words, and that will be a corpus. From the corpus, I'm creating a dictionary. And from the dictionary, I'm generating training data. And then I am calling the skipgram model training. So first, let's cover up until this one. We had problems in the last class until this one. So I'll go to create dictionary. So in create dictionary, it is kept very simple. I have all same way I have kept word to ID and ID to word. That is, each word will be assigned a unique ID and the reverse of it, just for ease of calculation. So I'm getting a single word from the corpus here also. I can tell it corpus. And here I will take it docs. Okay. So from the corpus, I'm taking one word at a time, and I'm checking if in the word to ID or ID to word, this word already exists or not. If it does not exist, means in both the case it is none. This is a dictionary, right? So in dictionary, I can get the corresponding value for a key. Then I'm adding the index of that in both the sides, word to ID, ID to word, and I'm incrementing the index. So what will happen? Any word repetition will not get a new ID. It will have the same ID as before. So we keep the IDs of the unique words same. Like we have the, here also, and here. 3 places we have the. So we don't need a unique ID for each the. The is a word, and this is a context to target prediction. So that means the word the has no positional value. It has only contextual value. So if it has no positional value, so assigning different IDs to different those does not make any sense. So we'll check if the word is not there, only then we will give it a ID or will not. Okay. After this generating the word to ID, and let's complete until here. First time I don't, oh, shit. Okay, anyways. So let's see the ID, word to ID. So after and the is 2. There is no other the in the dictionary. So as it is said, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13. So it has no repetition of IDs also. It has all has got unique IDs. Okay. So this is until our first we are creating a dictionary. So this much pipeline is covered. We have docs, and we create corpus from docs, and from the corpus we create dictionary, and then we need to create X and Y, that is context word and target words. So let's focus on that. Any questions until now? Okay. Let's go to the generate training data. Okay, this is what we want to focus. First, let's see how is the training data generated. Okay, so now we have our corpus, we have our dictionary, and we are telling that we want 3 letters on the left and 3 letters, 3 words on the left, 3 words on the right of the context word. This is our target. So in this code, there is no negative sampling. It is all positive sampling. Okay. So let's get inside this function. So I'm generating a empty list X and Y. I will fill it up with the training data, right? So for each token, I am the word from the token. Oh, this is not token. Sorry. This is what we have to keep it on same. Okay. From the corpus, I pick up a context word. Okay. And its position. I put an enumerate here, so it will also give an enumeration. So I will get the position. So I get after, and its position is 0 in the corpus. So I take the maximum left position. How much left I can go from the word after. Okay. And that is chosen between the max of position 1 minus the window size or 0. Because if now the position 1 size, position 1 value is 0, window size is 3, so 0 minus 3 becomes minus 3, and it is obvious, right? Because there is nothing before after, right? There is nothing before after. The term is very, very funny. Okay, but so that's why this becomes position minus words window size becomes minus 3. Now what is greater than minus 3? 0. So that means this is only to keep like that. Okay, you can go until 0, you cannot go beyond that, because same will happen with the. Now in the, what will happen? So the will have a position of 1, so 1 minus 3 is minus 2, so minus 2 it cannot go, so it will only have starting from 0. So that means in case of the, although the window length is 3, on the right side it will get deduction of the, but on the left side it will get only after, not anything else. A simple logic. In the same way, the max right position, how much right I can go, same goes for in this corner scenario. I cannot go something which is beyond the size of the corpus, so I have to stop there. So that's why either position 1 plus window size plus 1, or the length of the corpus minus 1, whichever is minimum. So in the left side we choose whatever is the maximum, and in the right side we choose what is the minimum. For the middle words there is no problem, as long as they have 3 words on the left and 3 words on the right. But only for the corner cases, like after, the, losers, game, these 4 words will have problem. So that is solved by this way. So we have maximum left position, maximum right position. So you see the maximum left position is 0, that is true, because beyond after nothing is there on the left. And maximum right position is 4, that is correct, because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 until the, sorry, maximum right position is the deduction of until, then minus 1. So that's why the 4 minus 1 means before the fourth word, which contains the deduction of. Okay, and let us see our loop is taking that or not. Let's see. So for nothing comes in the corpus for the left target word, it jumps the loop because there is nothing beyond after in the left side. But for the right side we should have. So let's see, and we had 3. Okay, so let us see now X and Y. So this is the target word. What is the context word? Context word is 1. What is 1? 1 is after. Okay. What is the what is the target word for it? 2. 2 is the. What is the target for it? Deduction. 3. What is the target for word for is 4, off. So we have only 3 target words for the context word after. Okay, so after has nothing on the left side, therefore there is 0 on the left side. On the right side there is the deduction of 1, 2, sorry, 2, 3 and 4, the deduction of. Okay, so now tell me what is the minimum number of target words can a context word have? Pulkit?
1.
No, it will always have 3. So after is a corner case, there is nothing on the left side, but there is always 3 on the right side. Similarly, game, there is nothing on the right side, but there will be always 3 on the left side. So 3 is the minimum number of context word, target word that a context word can have. And what is the maximum number of target word that a context word can have, Shiva?
It's 6, I think.
Yes, good. 6. So that's what we will have to see here. So I directly send the loop here, and we see here that 1 has 2, 3, 4. Now 2 has 4, 3 has 4, 4 has 6. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that is what we learned, right? And 6, 6, 6, 6 will continue until it again becomes 5, 4, and 3. So it will, what will happen from here, it will be it will have 3, here it will have 4, here it will have 5, then it will have 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, then 5, 4, sorry, 5, 4, 3. Got it, guys? Okay. Okay, so this is our training data. So we got our training data. Now we have to go to the skipgram model. Okay, before that I go, any doubts, guys? Tanmay is there? Yeah, Tanmay, Vikram, Shiva, Pulkit, any doubts?
No, Bishwa.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's go to our main training function. Okay. Oh, first I'll show this. So what I am sending here, I am sending X. X is the target. Y, sorry, context. Y is the target. What is the vocabulary size? Vocabulary size is nothing but the length of the corpus. And oh no, this will not be the length of the corpus. This will be the length of the dictionary. Or no, this is the length of the corpus. I'll tell you. This is the length of the corpus. What is the embedding size? Embedding size means how many dimensions are we giving to our embedding vector. So if you now let's go to our drawing. So now what is the fact that I have an embedding matrix and I have a neural network. Sorry. And I have a neural network. This theory you already have read. Okay. So let's see the names of this, what is given here. Initialize. So it is calling the embedding matrix as word embed, WRD I'll come to here, don't worry. WRD underscore EMB. This is the word embedding matrix. Okay. Mark, anything which is a matrix is given a capital letter in Python. This is a convention, no rule. And the dense is the neural network. So here it is W. So you see, first time you are front to front with the neural network. So the dense is W. Okay. So what happens? We give a target word X to the word embedding. We get its embedding, which is the embedding column of X. And we get its corresponding embedding matrix, embedding vector. So X, E we can write, or no, we go by the convention. EX, and this one should be this one will be O, one hot encoding of X. This will be the small EX. When these both are multiplied, you get the embedding matrix of X. You put this embedding matrix of X in the neural network, you get the embedding matrix X dash. say X dash. And then what do? You calculate the loss. What is the loss between what should come, what we are expecting to come, EY. What we got, EX dash. So this is the loss. And this loss is propagated to two places, the neural network and the word embedding matrix, both. And this process is continued till all the training data is covered. Okay, now let us see this happening here. Okay, so I call here telling that this is my context word, this is my target word, I have this much vocabulary size, this is my embedding size, means how many, what is the dimension of this one, E of X. What is the dimension of this? This is I'm calling 300. I want 300 length vector for this embedding. Learning rate, I'll tell you this. Epochs means how many times you want to repeat this. Batch size means at a time how many words you want to process. Okay, this batch size is nothing but it is given for performing operations in a batch because it saves a lot of time. Okay, other than that there is no special meaning of this. You can give a large batch size, then at a time this is matrix multiplication, right? Everything is matrix multiplication. So if you have a GPU, so you can multiply multiple matrices at the same time using the GPU, so which will make the thing training as very fast. Okay, so let's go into that function and see. Okay, so what do? We first initialize the parameters. Okay, what is the initializing the parameter? Parameter initialization is this one, initializing this and initializing this. I told you this is initialized as a random matrix. This is also initialized as a random matrix. Slowly, due to the loss, this random matrix starts to take shape in such a way that the loss becomes less. That is the target. Okay, so if we go here, you see initialize word embedding. This is the word embedding matrix. First matrix, you see, you generate random numbers. Okay, generate random numbers of the size of vocabulary cross embedding size. So if you remember, if you remember what was the dimension of this, it is they have taken it as vocabulary, that is 13 cross embedding size 300. This is the size they have considered, right? If you see the code, vocabulary size and embedding size, right? So embedding size I have given 300, so that's why 300, and vocabulary size we have 13 words, so 13. Okay, now I'm confused in this place. The vocabulary size should be the size of the dictionary, not the corpus, because we want the unique things, right? So word to ID, so whatever the size of this. Okay, now we're cool. Okay, so we are initializing the parameters. First we are initializing the word embedding matrix, and this is vocab size, embedding size. Now then it is initialized, what is multiplied by 0.01, it will generate very big numbers. The entire this matrix will be generated in a very big numbers. So you multiply 0.01 with them, so it becomes a small size. All the numbers become less in amount. Why this is done? Because if the magnitude of the numbers is very high, then any matrix multiplication, addition, subtraction will take a lot of time because of the size of the number, right? So 15 into 27 is a bigger number than 0.15 into 0.27. right? So that is the reason. So now what we do, after initializing the word embedding matrix, we initialize the neural network. So this is the first encounter with neural network, and you did not expect this to be as simple as this, but it is. Now we are using only one layer of neural network, that's why it looks very simple. If this dense matrix was multiple layers of neural network, then you would have seen that this array, this is also a two-dimensional array, right? So there would have been a line of such calls, okay? W1, W2, W3, W4, W5, all this will be there. But now it is only one layer. One layer is enough for us for demonstration purpose. So do it. So now what is this? This is the size is output size into input size. Now it is, we don't understand output input. Let us see what it is calling. It is calling embedding size and vocabulary size. So you see vocabulary embedding, embedding vocabulary. Can anybody say why this is done like this? Vocab embedding, embedding vocab.
For ease in matrix multiplication.
Yes, we can directly multiply these two matrices because we will have common column, right? Good. So what is the dimension of this one? Embedding size into vocab size. So this one is, I have made it a triangle, but it is also a what is it? Yeah. So this is 300 into 30. Okay. Okay. Now one question. Sorry. Somebody said. So now one question you guys may ask me is that when this is multiplied, I will get a size of 13 by 13, right? If this is directly multiplied 300 to 300, then my resulting matrix will be what? Of size 13 cross 13, which is a square matrix. But I am expecting a vector. So how will it happen? Ex dash cannot be a matrix, right? It will be a vector. So let's see how it happens, okay? Oh, sorry, one more mistake I did. So this is not E of X dash, this will be O of X dash. Because we don't know E, right? We are calculating E. So this is O of X dash. O of Y minus O of X dash. Okay. Okay, still the question is valid. This is also a vector. If I multiply both of them, then 13 from 13 becomes a matrix, square matrix. Let's see. Okay, so we initialized our embedding matrix and our single layer of neural network. We did it and we send it back. Okay, now our parameters are set. Now we are starting on epoch. Epoch means how many times we will repeat this same stuff. Okay, then we are calculating the batch size. How many batches can be done? I send the batch size as 10, right? So for ease, let me change the batch size to only 1. Okay, we'll only do 1 by 1. Okay, so we take 1 instead of a batch. We are taking 1x and 1y. Okay, otherwise we would have taken at a time 10x and 10y. But we are not here to see the speed increase. We are here to see how it works. Okay, so now we do 3 things: forward propagation, backward propagation, update parameters. So these are the 3 operations that we do. What is forward propagation? Forward propagation is whatever you are seeing in the diagram. These arrows. These arrows are the forward propagation. What is backward propagation? Backward propagation is these arrows. And what is update parameters? Update parameters is updating the weights of this matrix according to the loss. Okay, so 3 methods: forward propagation, backward propagation, and update parameters. Okay, so let's call the function and see. Okay, let's see the initialized parameters also. So you see here word embedding. This is a random matrix. Random. These are all random numbers. 13, 0 to 12 is 13, 13 to 299, 300. So this is our matrix, right? Dictionary size or number of unique words is to the size of each dimension of each embedding, 300. This is our embedding matrix. And then we get our, this is our neural network. It is also a random array with same 13 and 299. Okay. Oh, sorry, this one is the W. I showed you again that word embedding. Yeah, 12 is to 299. Okay. So now we update the parameters and return back epoch batch. How many batches we will have? We will have batch indices. We will have, just a minute. What is the shape of M? Oh, M is M here. M is telling that how many samples do we have. So that is equal to the size of X and Y, right? That many samples we have. So we have 81 samples, right? We generated our training data. So we have 81 samples. So if you have 81 samples, then how, and if batch size is 1, then how many times you will run it? 81 times, right? So here also same reason, this is 81. Batch indices 81, okay? So every time we will take 1. So X1 and Y1. So we randomly took it, right? So 12 and 9, okay? Let's see now forward propagation. Okay, so in forward propagation, what we will get? We will get this one, right? The word embedding of the OX. We'll get the word embedding of OX, right? So this is what we want to get. Now let's go to this function. I'll just show you the last thing. Okay, so this is the word vector. I didn't show you in here how he did it, or I can show it here. Is there any concept that you're missing? No. So there is a simple thing here, is flatten is used. So it is nothing, but it is telling that pick up the 12th word, from the embedding, right? So you remember, right? I told you, right? This is OX multiplied by EX, which gives us, OX multiplied by word embedding, which gives us EX. But then I said you that in the real implementation, this multiplication is not done because it is a very costly affair. So instead of that, what we tell that whichever in the OX, whichever index is highlighted, the same column is directly picked up. The same column is directly picked up instead of doing a matrix multiplication. So this is what they did it in the Pythonic way. So nothing more. So in the word embedding, see, we are picking up the fth column, okay, which is 12, okay, nothing else. So we got a word vector. Sorry, we got the word vector. Obviously, this will be of size 300. Now what are those weights? These are random weights because our embedding matrix was initialized randomly. So we only picked up the 12th number column. So it's a random 12 number column. There is no training until now. This is a random number column. Okay, dimension is 300 because we 299 0 to 299 300 because we mentioned that the embedding size is 300. Okay, so this returns back with the word vector. So this is the first step. First step in here. This step. So this from here until here it is done. Okay. Then what do? We do linear dense. Linear dense means the second step. The word embedding multiplied passes through the neural network. Okay. So this is linear dense. So if you go there, you see it is doing a dot product. With what? The W is what? W is the neural network, and word wake is the E of X, right? E of X, this is word wake, and this is W. Now I asked you one question here that 300, 300, so 13 is to 13, how it will happen? It is happen because in between there is one more item here. So, sorry. So when we get the corresponding embedding vector for OX, what is its size? We just saw now 1 is to 300. No, was it 1 is to 300 or 300 is to 1? 300 is to 1. 300 is to 1. So what will happen? I cannot multiply directly with W, but I can multiply with W transpose. No.
So 1 into 300. 1 cross.
Yeah, correct. 1 into 300. Okay. So I do a dot product here. So word embedding is 13 is to 300. Oh, so we are doing the opposite way. So, sorry. That's why I got confused. So this matrix we are doing how? This operation we are doing W dot, just a minute, W dot word wake. W dot EX. Okay. So this is 300 is to 1, and this is 13 is to 300. So what we will get? We will get OX dash, which is 13 is to 1. And this is correct, right? Because I want a one hot encoding. Now my entire dictionary is of size 13. My entire dictionary is of size 13. So I will get a one hot encoding output, any random output. But that won't be equal to OY. But then I can do a at least difference between the two. This is OX. This is OX dash, and this is OY. Right? This is the expected, and this is what I got. Then I can take this difference, right? This difference I can take, and then I can do my back propagation and then update parameters. Okay. So here is the same thing going on. So you see, W is the neural network, which is 13 is to 300, and word wake is the word vector what we got, that is 300 is to 1. So when I multiply it, I get a matrix Z, which is 13 is to 1. Right? And this is the one hot encoding. Now that the fun is here. You see this, you don't find one hot encoding, right? You don't find one hot encoding. And I said you about this. This was related to softmax function. So I said that these are all matrix multiplications. So there is no necessity that you will actually get a one hot encoding here. You will just get a random vector. But we can convert this into a one hot encoding. How? How? Tanmay, can you say that? Shiva? Pulkit?
You can convert that probability into this functions.
You can convert any vector into a probabilistic distribution using softmax function.
Yeah.
And that will tell us which is the probability with the highest value is 1, others are 0.
Yeah, we can put a cutoff and then mark it as 1, 1.
Tanmay, Shiva, Pulkit. Why you couldn't answer this? Are you guys there?
Yes.
Okay, but you understood, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now let's come back. So we are coming back, and we did two parts. We multiplied our we did two parts here. One is this red color, and then the second is this green color. Now we have to apply a softmax here. Softmax will be here somewhere, right? This softmax layer. Softmax. So this green is not yet done. So this green is not yet until here. So this is until here. So we have cleared this red color. We have cleared this green color. Now we are about to do the softmax. So here it is, softmax. You see the output of this softmax output. What happened? It's showing here, it's not showing there. Okay. NDRA. No. Okay, anyways, we'll see it here. No. Okay, you can see it here, right? This is the softmax. You see, you may find very slight differences in probability. You may find very less difference in probability. But when you add all this, when you add all these values, you get how much, Tanmay? If you add all the values of a softmax output, what is the value you get?
Total
1.
probability 1.
Yes, correct. Right. So you get that. So we are returning back with the softmax output, and all other things we put in cache. Okay, just to speed up things. The important is the softmax output. So what is the softmax output for us? The softmax out. So what we completed next? We completed this until the softmax output, and we returned back, and we told that our forward propagation is over. Our forward propagation is really over because we did all the three parts. Now we'll go to the backward propagation. So in backward propagation, first is softmax backward, because we'll go from the reverse order, right? So we did this red, green, and blue. When we return back, we will be blue, green, and red. So first is softmax backward. Okay, let's see what is happening there. So we are calculating the difference between the softmax output and Y, right? So this is which part? This is this part, loss. So we'll put a yellow color here, and this one is circular like this. Okay, so we're calculating this loss, which is given a name DL by DZ. It's okay, don't confuse it, but we are just abstracting what I said, the difference, the loss. Okay, it returns back. Then dense backward. Dense backward is what? The neural network. What it is doing there? This part I will omit, because this is the part where you do matrix calculus, differentiation, partial derivatives. Let's not discuss about that. And this is what is, it calculates the loss in each layer. So loss in each layer is this layer was simple, but loss in this layer is not that simple. Okay, so we will do a partial differentiation here. So this is what is done here. Sorry, this one continues till here. Okay, so we do it, and these are called the gradients. Now why are they called gradients, I will not explain to you. This is also again related to linear algebra of matrix calculus. But you remember three things we calculated. Here are three things we calculated. One is the gradient of softmax. One is the gradient of the neural network, and another one is the gradient of the word matrix, embedding matrix. Okay, so three gradients we calculated, right? So three gradients. 1, 2, and 3 gradients. So this is our backward propagation. Okay, dl by dz is the softmax gradient, dl by dw is the neural network gradient, dl by d word vec is the embedding matrix gradient. These gradients are what? Are partial differentiations which will be helpful in updating the matrices values, or the updating the embedding matrix and the neural network matrix, or which is called the dense layer matrix values. Because if we don't change those randomly initialized matrix values, then we are not learning anything, right? So learning here means convert one matrix into another matrix by using partial differentiation derivatives layer by layer. So you see, this is a beautiful concept. So the same thing goes into our minds also. In our mind also, it happens at a very high scale, but the main basic function is that we are updating the weights of our matrices in our neural networks. Okay, so that is the same thing here is going to happen. Now we are updating the parameters. We did our back propagation, but if we don't update our parameters of the embedding matrix and the neural network, then there is no point, right? So let's update the parameters. So I will not explain here the things. Learning rate also I won't explain here. But you see, it is, if you can understand, word embedding minus equal to means word embedding is equal to word embedding minus the partial derivative multiplied by the learning rate. So now you see the learning rate is 0.001. I'll just give you a hint here. So that means I am not subtracting the partial derivative entirely from the matrix. I am multiplying the partial derivative with 0.001, means I am taking a very small quantity of the learning what I did. Why? Because I should not be very ambitious in learning. There can be some things which I missed. So I will take little bit of this learning and wait for the further future learnings, right? So suppose you are playing cricket. So when there is a short pitch ball, you see that he pulled the ball and hit a 6. So if you are very ambitious in learning, so what you will do is you will tell that, okay, short pitch ball means you have to pull it, right? But if the short pitch ball is on the offside, wide offside, it is very much insane to pull a ball from offside, right? Instead, you can just hit the ball, slash the ball out of the like the point boundary, right? So this is what we are trying to avoid, this ambitious learning. So that's why whatever partial derivative quantity we got, which we are subtracting from the matrix, we are not subtracting it entirely. We are only taking 0.001 fraction of that, because we may not be completely correct in our first learning itself. There can be many varieties that is hidden. So why to take the entirely thing? Why not take small by small? So that's why this is called the learning rate. So learning rate is a very, very important factor in neural networks. So we assign the learning rate depending on the problem statement. So learning rate is like a you tell medicine. So you take 2 tablets or 1 tablet or 1.5 tablets. The doctor decides based on the problem, based on the patient. So similarly, we in data science also, we decide the learning rate accordingly. Normally 0.0001 is a good learning rate for most of the neural networks. Okay. So
is this
yeah.
like when we thought about that gradient descent, when it's going towards the minima, so That's where we are using
Exactly.
this learning.
Exactly. Step values. How much step you are taking.
Small steps means that
Yeah, so when you are doing the gradient descent, you are not taking a big step, right? You are taking a small step. Correct. Okay, so that is called stochastic gradient descent. This is not stochastic. We are not randomly doing it. We know what we are doing it. So they are two different but almost similar concepts. Okay. So now we updated our parameters and we are calculating the cost. Cost means the softmax out and the y value we just subtracted there, but we did not calculate the loss, exact value of the loss. We calculated the difference because we wanted to do the partial derivative. Here there is a cross entropy function which is actually, I'll not explain again this one. This is a part of linear algebra which we'll cover later, which will tells us the actual cost of the loss. So the actual cost of the loss is 298. Now you will tell me how did this value come from two vectors. This is a vector and this is also a vector, right? So how these two vectors gave this cost, don't worry, we'll see it later. Okay. Now the cost is the total epoch cost is, we are adding the cost, and then we are again doing one more. We are taking out one more batch and we are doing the same thing again. Again taking one more batch and forward propagation, backward propagation, update parameter, calculate cost, again go back. So our job is to see that the cost is decreasing or not. But here the cost is actually sometimes increasing and sometimes decreasing drastically. That is fine because this is a very abrupt example. Nobody takes a document of only 13 words. So normally it is a very huge document and slowly it merges. Okay. Now what we'll do as a data scientist, what you will do is you will plot the cost. You will see that the cost in every step is decreasing or not. Oh, there is some error. Okay, no problem. Okay, so normally what happens is you will see a graph. In that graph, it will tell that the cost is slowly decreasing, and then it is a good sign. That means our network is learning. Okay, so just to revise what we did, we had many docs. We converted docs into corpus. We converted corpus into the dictionary. From dictionary, we generated training data X and Y. From training data, we took one by one X and one Y. We passed the X through the word embedding, got the embedding vector, passed the embedding vector through the neural network, got the not the one hot, got an output vector. The output vector is not one hot encoded, so it is passed through the softmax function to get the one hot encoding. This one hot encoding is subtracted from the expected Y to see the loss, and this loss is then propagated as partial derivative. Partial derivatives means think like this. You have your grandfather, then your father, then your son. Now your son does some mistake in the school, so he is not entirely responsible for the mistake. He is responsible maybe 30%. His father may be responsible 30%, and his grandfather may be responsible 40%. Right? So this is called the this is a weird example, but I hope you got it. So total loss is not responsible by only one layer. It is distributed across all the layers. So that is why we calculated the loss here. Now on the basis of the loss, we do partial differentiation of the loss and update the parameters of each layer. Okay, so softmax updation, the neural network updation, and embedding matrix updation. So what we did, forward propagation, loss, backward propagation, and at the end we calculated the loss in this entire epoch. This is one epoch. No, this is not one epoch. This is one step, one entry. Like this, when all the vocabulary is over, then we call that is one epoch. Again, we rerun the entire vocabulary. That is called the second epoch. Because in the first epoch, we are using learning rate of 0.001, right? So it will not learn much. So we have to run the same epoch at least 30, 40, 50, 100 times. then we will completely learn it. So this is called machine learning or deep learning. So that we all talk about. So that is why you understand, right, why you need a GPU server, because we can increase the batch size and we can do learning much faster because of the GPU, which does not happen in CPU. In my CPU, I was, so if you, I'll show you. So where is this run? You see here. So I was training today. One of the neural network, I had done it. So I was training today. If you see this, you see epoch 1 out of 100. So I am running the entire example 100 times. Same example, same data set, training data, I am running 100 times. In each step, in each epoch, there are 30 steps. You see, every epoch 30 times, 30 times, 30 times, but it is training 100 times the same 30 steps. And in each step, I am saving the model. It is automatically done. Okay, so whatever with the last model, what I did, I ran it for 12 epochs and then I stopped it because I saw that the accuracy is not changing much. See, 1647, 1647, 1647, 1647. So it's same. So I thought that is not changing much. So yeah, my model is almost stabilized. So I killed it. But I killed it, but my model is saved. The last model is saved. It is saved and kept here. So I can straight away load my model and start doing predictions. Okay. So this is what how your machine learning works. Yeah, please, questions. 10:30 already. Any questions?
Not at all.
Good, good. Tanmay, Shiva, Vikram,
Yeah.
any questions?
No, Vishwa, good explanation actually.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So I'll stop this and I'll upload this. Okay, bye. Good night.
Yeah, this way, if possible, the code also if you can share.
Yeah, I will share the code. Okay, bye.
Bye.